Welcome back to another camera channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the new Aputure STORM 1200X. Now for this video, I didn't want to just read a bunch of specs to you because you've probably seen the launch video, and if you haven't, you definitely should go look at it because maybe you might recognize one of the locations in that video in the Tim and Brandon section. That was filmed in our studio here in Korea, and we are so thankful for Aputure for coming here to shoot that. It meant the world to us, so thanks so much. Go check out that video. In this video, I actually wanted to talk about more from a user standpoint because I have actually used the light on a couple of jobs already before the launch, and I wanted to cover a few points that the Keynote video didn't cover and what a few other reviewers haven't talked about yet. Let's start off with just talking about the light itself. It is a dream. I'm sure a lot of you are also thinking that. The form factor is very nice because it's very similar to the 1200D. When we saw the CS15 and the XT26, a lot of people were saying it's too big, it's too heavy, and I think a lot of people are very happy that Aputure have returned to this kind of form factor here. This is like the pinnacle form factor, I think, for like solo operators or someone who wants to move a light around by themselves, because the CS15 and the XT26, they are heavy. That's no lie, they are very heavy, and sometimes maneuvering about, you may need more than one person to do it completely safely or not to damage your back. So this return to this form factor here is spot on. It's really good. If you want to see a comparison, here it is between the 1200D and the 1200X. They're very similar in size. The 1200X is only slightly bigger, slightly fatter in certain areas. There is also 2 extra fans visible that you can see on the bottom of the 1200X. But I think we can all agree that the size of this light fixture is a huge bonus. What is different from the 1200D is the new ProLock mount on the front here, which is the new PL mount style locking Bowens mount, which Aputure got from ProLight in their acquisition earlier. And I will say, at first, I wasn't thinking this was going to be such a huge feature for me, but after using it so many times and going back to setting up this lighting setup here using the 600D, this is a godsend, really. It makes it so much easier, just being able to put in a fixture, a quick twist, and it never actually goes that far. It goes to about midway, like there. That's enough friction to lock it in place. This just makes your life so much easier. And it's just something so simple. You know, working with huge modifiers, trying to force them in and then trying to twist it, sometimes it just wouldn't work, especially at odd angles where the fixture could be at. This is such a godsend, just putting a put in and twist. 10 out of 10 for this feature right here. But because of this new ProLock mount, the F10 Fresnel doesn't fit. It hits on these handles here, so you can't put it on. So there is a new compact Fresnel coming with a skid pad, which you can see in this image here. That will be released soon. There hasn't been a date listed yet, but I believe it was on display at BIR TV in China, and it will probably be on display at IBC, which I'm flying to right after I do this video. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in person. From what I can gather, the new Fresnel design is another ProLight design. So we can thank Mitch and his team for that.
And apparently there's also space for that compact Fresnel in the rolling case.
Sticking on the topics of accessories, it comes with its own 45-degree wide reflector in the box, and you can get 2 more reflectors, which is a 30 and 15 degree, sold separately in this case. And this case is larger than the 1200D reflector case. In fact, the reflectors are actually larger than the 1200D reflectors. And this brings me to my next point. A question you're probably going to ask, can I use the 1200D reflectors on the 1200X? The answer is no, because even though they will fit, because they are Bowens mount, they are designed differently. They're designed for the 1200D cob, and according to this comment from Mitch, there may be color fringing and strange hotspots being introduced if you use the wrong reflectors. So if you do want these reflectors, make sure that you buy them and use them just on the 1200X. The roller case is also a different size as well. It's slightly taller and thinner than the 1200D case. There's also a lack of a top strap. That's what I'm going to call it. The 2 straps which came together with a kind of Velcro handle in the middle. That's gone, which is kind of strange because I'm very used to picking up the lights from that strap. So one of the first times I tried to pick up the light in its rolling case, I was kind of off center and I didn't really know how to pick it up. There is a handle on the underside, but to get to that is kind of annoying. So I think that's one thing. If there was a negative, it might be that. However, I have seen that Velcro fail on other lights over many uses. So maybe that's why it got removed. I'm not entirely sure, but having to hold the case like this, I mean, it works. You can do it, but I kind of just missed that handle right about here. In terms of using this light fixture in the real world, I really, really like it. I don't actually own any bicolor fixtures, if you want to call this a bicolor fixture. The best I've got are like Nova 300s, the Amaran 300C, and the 60X. So having a powerful bicolor light is really, really helpful for me. And I've kind of noticed this trend, at least in Korea. A lot of people aren't going for those powerful, just daylight only fixtures anymore. They want bicolor, or they want tunable white, as Aputure is saying. And Aputure are making a very big deal about this full plus and minus green magenta shift thing that you can do in this, because it is not a common feature. In fact, this might be the only one that does it in this size and as accurately. So that's a big deal. The new chip thing is also something huge, and that's a kind of thing which is the pillar of this new Storm family, and that's the Blair chip. And that stands for blue, lime, amber, indigo, and red. And what's cool is because you have those 5 chips to make the white light. There aren't actually any kind of white light chips in the assembly, which leads you to a very cool thing. In the menu, you get a color page where you can drag around in these 3 gamuts. P3 is the largest, and you actually get color effects. So although it might not be as bright as the dedicated like kind of white light modes, the fact that you can dial in a color if you need it is super nice. Currently at the moment, the effects page in the app doesn't really work that well. If you click on effects, it just takes you to the color page. But then if you just swipe across the top of the menu, you can access the effects. But I do believe that they need a firmware update on this, because there aren't all the kind of color changing options that you would expect, especially with the green magenta shift. So I think especially in the pulsing mode, I noticed that it skews very, very magenta. So I think this is going to be fixed with firmware, but I don't know yet when that's going to be. So hopefully that's done quite quickly. I'm really looking forward to the second side of the Storm family, which is the Tuneable Colour fixtures. We don't know anything about this yet, apart from what Ted has said in the Keynote video, but we can expect probably maybe a brighter version of this. Ted said more saturated, so my camera already kind of can't handle the amount of saturation that comes out of some of these color modes anyway, so more saturated light, that's going to be an interesting one. However, if you are a member of Gaffer Salon, you've probably seen the comments from Tim and Mitch, and they're saying this is not a color light and you shouldn't be seen as a color light, because there will be the color lights coming from the Storm lineup. So we'll see what they do. We'll see how they differ when they come out. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long. I'm hoping that they bring this technology, everything we have here, into the 600s, into the 300s, maybe even down to the 120s, or maybe 150, something like that, or even smaller, like a 6D. Some of the older fixtures that I have, like the 120Ds, the 300s, they just don't have the kind of pro features like wireless CRMX. They obviously don't have this because this is brand new. These features in those lights would be absolutely amazing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Aputure are going to release, and I hope they don't wait too long. I hope we don't have to wait until next NAB to see these fixtures. I hope they can just push them out as quickly as possible, because I believe so many people are going to want to upgrade all their lights to this new technology. A lot of the older fixtures were long overdue an upgrade, so this is super exciting. Another really nice feature is the very, very low dimming, 0.1%, and this is meant to be very, very color accurate. And it is very nice to be able to dim your lights all the way down. We kind of said this in the 600C Mark II video. That was one of their key selling points, is like, we can dim it all the way down now. They've given that kind of technology in this, which is really awesome, because sometimes powerful lights, they can just be too bright, even on the low end. The new twist lock cable design that we've seen from the CS15 and the XC26 is part of the Storm lineup, which is very nice, because it's very convenient just to be able to attach the cable and give it a little twist, and it's connected. Very, very nice. Again, using the 600G to set up this, having to do that strange push and pull motion to get the cable in and out, it just makes you wonder, how did we deal with all this, First world problems, but that's a nice feature about this light, which we're really happy about. And there isn't really much else to say, apart from reading the spec sheet to you, which I don't want to do. So hopefully you enjoyed the points in this video. Hopefully I said some stuff that you didn't know before, or showed you some stuff that you didn't know before about this light. I'm very, very happy with this light. And would like more of them, because I think you could replace pretty much everything with this light, apart from color, which we'll see later on down the line what they come out with. But let's look forward to smaller fixtures from this Storm family, and also the color versions, and see what Aputure brings to us in the coming year or years. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. This is one of the first Aputure reviews where I've actually got to keep the light. So I'm super happy about that. So the bigger the channel grows, maybe I'll get more lights to keep as well. So thank you so much for Aputure for providing me with this light. And go check out the launch video or just the Blair science segment of that video. They've uploaded that separately and you'll see our live studio here in Korea. And if you need a studio in South Korea, let us know. Go to wearecatalog.com and talk to us about production services in South Korea. I'll have a review of the InfiniBars, the PB12, PB6 4-light kits. I'll get to that after IBC. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.